Good morning, dear students. Dear students, we started chapter number 7 of civics, understanding marginalization. First of all, we talked about marginalized. What do you mean by socially marginalized? Then, children, we talked about the story of an Adivasi family which lives in Delhi. How their grandfather, how he was expelled from his village in Orissa, and he is reminding that time. Fine. Then now, children, we are going to talk about who are Adivasis. Fine. Now, children, the Adivasis, the term literally means original inhabitants. The original people, those who live, that is the Adivasi. So, tribal people, they are also referred to as Adivasis. Now, children, these are the communities who lived and they are still continuing to live in very close with the forests, fine, with the nature they are living. Children, around 8% of India's population is Adivasi, and many of the important mining and industrial centers, they all are located in the Adivasi areas. So if we see the examples, all Jamshedpur, Rourkela, Bokaro, Bhilai, they all are among these. Fine. Adivasis, they are not homogeneous, means they are not same. There are over 500 different Adivasi groups in India. Fine. Adivasis, they are particularly many in the states like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, and even in the northeastern states of Arunachal, the seven sisters we say, Arunachal, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura. Now, if you talk about Odisha, it is alone a home to more than 60 different tribal groups. Now, these Adivasi societies, they are more different because they often they don't follow the hierarchy system, which was means they have a different type of community as compared to the principles of that caste system or varna system, which was ruled by the king. So it is totally different from that. Fine. Now Adivasis, children, they have their own tribal, means many of their tribal religions, which is totally different from Islam, Hinduism, Christianity. Now, what do they worship? Their worshipping involves uh, involves the worship of their ancestors, village, nature spirits, fine, and landscapes, mountain spirits, river spirits, animal spirits. So the village spirits, what they often worship, specific sacred groves within the village boundaries they used to worship, and for they worship their ancestors usually at their home only. Now additionally, Adivasis, they have been influenced by the surroundings, by the societies around them, by the religions around them, and those are like Sakta, Buddhist, Vaishnav, Bhakti, and Christianity. Now, Adivasi religion themselves, they are influenced by the other dominant religions of the empires around them. So, if for an example, we just say that they are influenced by the Jagannath cult of Odisha, Shakti and Tantric traditions, which is there in Bengal and Assam. Then, during the 19th century, many number of Adivasis, they were converted into Christianity, which became very important religion in the modern Adivasi history, children. Now Adivasis, they have their own language, fine, and it is different from like Sanskrit, which is old, and it is same as old as Sanskrit. Now, which have often deeply influenced the formation of mainstream Indian languages, main languages of India. It is influenced, its formation is influenced from them. Fine. Now Santhali. It has a large number of speakers and it is a very significant body for the publication as well, for the publication of magazines on the internets which are known as NE magazines. Fine. Now Adivasis and stereotyping. Now we have discussed this in class 6th also, children. Stereotype. When we are fixing an image for someone, that is, we are creating stereotype. So now Adivasi communities, we are showcasing them, we are looking at them, we have made a picture of them in a different, in a particular way. Means all the time whenever we talk about Adivasi, what comes to our mind? We think about colorful costumes, headgears, and dancing people, as you can see in the picture also. This type of picture comes to our mind when we talk about Adivasis. Fine. Now, besides this, we don't know about the realities of their life. What is their reality? We don't know. And we just believe that these people are different from us and they are backward from us. Fine. Now, these Adivasis, they are, many of the time we just blame them. We add a thing with them that they are against the advancement and they don't want the changes or the new ideas in their life. Fine. So in class 6th book, we talked about stereotyping particular communities and that leads to discrimination. So what we are doing now, when we are stereotyping, we are creating discrimination. So these Adivasi communities, they are being discriminated by us. Now Adivasis and development. Now if we talk about development, now see forest, it is very very crucial, very very important for the development of almost all empires and all the settled civilization in India. If you talk about metal ores like iron, copper, gold, silver, coal, diamonds, all the timber, medicinal herbs, animal products, even animal themselves, it all came from the forest itself. We have read it in history, children. In addition to this, life was totally dependent on forest. And even today also, we are clearing them just for our own needs. Fine. So the quality of air and water is very crucial. It becomes clean and clear just because of these forests only. So this forest cover is the major part of our country. Now it was till the 19th century, and these Adivasis, they were having a deep knowledge and they were able to, they had an access, means they can reach these places. They had a full control on these forests till the middle of the 19th century. But after that, means what does it mean? That they were not ruled by the large state or the empires. Even these empires, those empires and states, those depend heavily on these Adivasis for their resources, for the resources which were available in the forest. Fine. Now, now today, uh, now today we think them as a marginal and powerless communities, but in the pre-colonial world they were, hunter gatherers, nomads. They were dependent on shifting cultivation. Fine. Now these remained for the past 200 years. Now what happens? Now Adivasis have been increasingly forced to, because of the economic changes or the changing in forest policies or the political, you know, forces of the state and the private industries. These Adivasis, they are forced to migrate to different places just to earn their livelihood. So they were forced to live, work as a workers in the plantations, at construction sites, industries. Even they were working as domestic workers. Now for the first time in history, they did not had control on the forest territories. Fine. Now in 1830s, children, Adivasis from Jharkhand and the nearby areas, in a very large number, they went to the plantations in India as well as around the world. We can call Mauritius, Caribbean, even Australia they went. Now tea industry, if we talk about, that also has laborers in Assam. 70 lakh Adivasis in Assam alone were there, and during their migration they had to face hardships, torture, heartbreak, and many of them even faced death. For instance, children in the 19th century, 5 lakh Adivasis, they have perished in these migrations, means we didn't get them. So these were the hardships which these Adivasi communities faced. Now, children, forest land has been cleared for timber and other things like agriculture, industry, and all that. Now these Adivasis, they have lived in the areas which were rich in minerals and other natural resources. They for the mining and other industrial projects, they were forced to leave those land. Powerful forces, they threw out these tribal people and took their tribal land. Much of the time, the land has taken away forcefully, or the procedures are not followed. Means the land from them was taken very forcefully, and no procedure were followed to get that land. Fine. Now, if you talk about the official figures, more than 50% of the people were displaced due to mining and mine projects. Fine. And the 50% of the people, those who were thrown out of their habitats, were the Adivasis itself. Fine. Another recent survey, it tells that organization working among Adivasi show that 79% of the people, they were displaced from the states of Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and Jharkhand. They were also tribals. Now their land has gone under the water of hundreds of dams were built during the independent India. In northeast, if you say, land remain highly militarized, fine, for military purpose. 109 national parks, then 453 wildlife sanctuaries are there. So these areas were originally inhabited with the tribal people. Now they are thrown out of these places. When they continue to stay in these forests, they are termed as encroachers. If they live in these forests, they are said to be threat for the forest. Now losing their land, now they are losing their land. They don't have any access to the forest. Means they had to change their sources of livelihood and food. Now what are they doing? They are losing their traditional homelands. They are migrating to the cities in search of work. They are getting very low wages in the local industries or at the building or construction sites, and they are caught in the cycle of poverty and deprivation. Means people are discriminating them. They are not giving them equal, status or equal rights, and they are simultaneously they are facing they are in the cycle of poverty as well. 45% of tribal groups in the rural areas and 35% in the urban areas, they all are below the poverty line. Fine. So their children are malnutrition, means they are not getting uh, the required amount of food or amount of uh, minerals, you can say. Literacy rate is also very low among these tribal people. Now Adivasis, they are displaced from their land, so they are losing their source of income, they are losing their traditions, their custom, their way of living, and this way they are displaced from uh, their homeland, you can say. Now see, there exists an interconnectedness between the economic and social dimension of tribal life. We are not only talking about the social, we talked about the social life, but the economic life as well. It had a connection with each other. Now, destruction of one sphere naturally is going to impact the other sphere of life. Fine. So often this process of dispossession and displacement can be painful and violent. So because they are facing so much of problem, so they are facing so much of pain, it can sometimes, this procedure can be violent as well. So children, this was the end of this topic. Thank you and have a nice day.